coming up on the Crazy Jamaican Boy Podcast.
I want to talk more about you winning Miss Jamaica.
To be fair, I'm not gonna lie and say it was all sprinkles and sparkles and pretty gowns. There were challenging moments. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at the tender age of 16. I've had some really terrible experience with our medical practitioners in Jamaica who have no bedside manners, who have no empathy, and this is both male and female. You're a man and you're living with your parents, it's red. It's a red flag. Did they get that? It's a red flag. Why are you living with your parents?
Alright guys, you don't know, it's your boy Anthony, back again with another episode of the Crazy Jamaican Boy. And I'm sure you see my lovely, beautiful guest right here. The lovely, undescribable, the amazing superstar who was also Miss World, you know. I've done big people up on the show. That's cool, no? Cool, huh? The lovely Miss Ashlie Barrett. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling fantastic. Feeling blessed. Earlier I was saying I'm so proud of how far you've come. So I'm also feeling honored to be in your presence, to do this interview,
Wow.
I've known Anthony for a while. I have space to say, I am proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashlie. I really do appreciate that. I will say, I met her through, Lucian, one of the baddest designer in the Caribbean guys. He took a chance on me, had me model some of his stuff, and that's how I met this amazing person. I remember the first night. You remember the night? The first time we met?
Was it the fashion show at Emed Spa?
It was the fashion show at Emed Spa. That was the first time I ever did something like that. And I was so nervous. You were so amazing that night, I have to say. You did encourage me, you boost me, you tell me, so like, yo, you do this and that, And those words really meant a lot to me. I'm not gonna lie, it really did. It allowed me to, get out there, and I wasn't the best, but I did it.
You tried your best.
I tried my best, and it was thanks to this lovely, amazing, for real.
Did that.
For real, yeah, for sure. I can't deny that. But yeah, so guys, before we get into it, make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you share it too with your friends and family. Anything you don't know it go already. And also, subscribe if you haven't as yet. If you're listening this on Spotify or Apple, leave a review. Follow. The whole works, isn't it? All right.
I love that. Spotify.
You don't know it go already, man. All right. So, just get into it, Ashlie. Just give us an amazing 30-second,
introduction.
Yeah. For those who, may not be familiar with how amazing you are.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I am a wearer. That is not even a word. Anyways, I wear many hats. To be fair, I started working from as early as I could remember in customer service with my father. I moved on to doing modeling. When I was about 16, I started modeling. So that has been a fundamental part of my life, to the point where now I train young minds and older minds to model as well. I also do a little pageant coaching. I am director of sales and marketing at the Corporate Interiors International. And I also do social media management. I do a lot of things, but outside of that, I'm a lover of life. I am an advocate for endometriosis, for women who have reproductive disorders. And 30 seconds probably gone by now, but
Continue,
yeah, I'm just a lover of life, a big appreciator of the little things in life. And I've had a lot of experiences where I've been reminded of how fickle life is. And so I think fundamentally at the core, if somebody were to say, who are you in one sentence, I would say I am a lover of all things life and a lover of all things alive.
Wow.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
So much. I have a lot to ask you though. I will say, starting with you being a model at 16, what was that like?
So I was introduced to modeling from obviously watching television, looking at magazines, being told, because from I was young, I was always tall and slim. that I should do modeling. And so when I was 16, my dad took me to an event with Kingsley Cooper, and he basically acknowledged the fact that I should be really in the industry. And I started training with Pulse at, I think it was actually from 15, because I was in lower six at the time.
Oh, shoot.
And so that's how I got introduced to modeling. And it just kind of went uphill from there.
Uphill from there.
Yeah.
There we go. But how you did manage to balance that though? Like, you have high school.
I did not.
You didn't. Tell us more about that.
I mean, as a liberal, you always believe that you have a balance over everything in your life, but there are moments where life does remind you that you don't have full control. And so in high school, I was already slim, but I was tasked with trying to lose a little bit more weight, because beauty standards back then were heavily associated with looking particularly thin. My father was not 100% on board, but he was 100% on with my dreams. It was something that I wanted to do. So I got into a workout program. I was supposed to be going to Paris within the space of 3 weeks. And I fainted out at school because I wasn't eating. I was already not someone to eat a lot, but I was not eating as nutritionally, I guess, as I should have been. And that took a toll on my health. And my dad was like, no, you're going to have to wait until you're in college or you're finished with your education to really pursue this. Because right now you need to focus on passing your exams and going to college and getting a solid education that can parlay with modeling, because it's not a sustainable career, to be fair. Or at least at the time he didn't see it that way.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm sure that at the time there was some resentment there, because that's something that you loved, right? And then if it kind of be like snatched away from you, like, no, it wasn't like that? You
No.
understood where he's coming from.
Yeah.
All right.
My dad has a saying to say, he's always going to tell me what's within my best interest. He loves me, and so he'll never tell me anything that's not within my greatest interest. And sometimes they're tough pills to swallow. There are things I don't want to hear or things I don't necessarily feel like I'm ready to do. But I always revert to my parents, and whatever they say is usually law for me. So
Love that.
once him say, wait, I was like, I'm just going to wait. Yeah.
I love that for real. What made you decide to go back to modeling?
That's when I actually entered the Miss Jamaica World. Family and friends encouraged me at the time to go to the auditions. I remember tripping up in the room, like almost fell to my face.
Wow.
But I caught that fall like nobody's
Like a
business.
G.
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hold it together, Delroy, full of stress, So I went in, I auditioned, and there were girls there who were very experienced with pageantry. And honestly, I just decided I was going to be myself and advocate for women who had reproductive disorders. And that's what I did, and it just worked out in my favor, thank God. And so that also transitioned me more into the modeling industry, because pageantry is heavily aligned as well with fashion shows and appearances and posture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and poise.
I want to talk more about you winning Miss Jamaica, because that's a big deal. I feel like a lot of times when I see you and I mention it to you, you just kind of like push it one side. But it's like, that's a
Funny.
but that's a big freaking deal, because I know enough girl by enter, and no disrespect, but
Wow.
I only one alone, I know I win.
There.
So tell us about that though, your experience. Like, what was that like? Like, was there like anything like throughout that experience where you're just like, holy, like, damn.
Yes, there were a few instances, to be completely fair, but I've never openly talked about it, to be fair, like I've always had one-on-one conversations with persons about my experience, the good, the bad, the ugly. But to be fair, I take everything as a learning experience. So a lot of things that happened to me that had my family and friends like, I should have me. I was like, what? There's a hidden lesson here, whether it's in resilience, is in strength, is in patience. And so I took everything with what we would say in Jamaica with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I'm not gonna lie and say it was all sprinkles and sparkles and pretty gowns. There were challenging moments, but I feel like, when are we not ever challenged in this life? I feel like everyone at every moment, has something that they're working through. And that's just life.
Yeah.
So what sense I dwell on that now?
True.
I'm not a dweller. I'm a storyteller. I'm joking, that does rhyme.
I love that, man. But you don't know it go already, man.
Yeah.
That's I find that particularly impressive. Like for me personally, I'm not really a pageant person. I don't really keep up with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I found out that you won like when you were like 20 in 2016, I mean, that's pretty young. You had no real experience and you
No.
came out on top. Like that is something to be proud of.
I'm gonna take those flowers and say I agree.
Yeah.
I am proud of that experience, you know?
Yeah, and also too, like one thing, because I think we can't deny that there is like some level of colorism in our society, right?
Yeah.
And then like for you now, like, you know, it's a very, you know, nice, you know, chocolate. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of
Melanated.
I don't think you understood like your impact. Like a lot of people probably used to look at Miss Jamaica and be like, oh, or some light skinned girl, them are gonna look on some racially ambiguous girl. And them see you now, you know, somebody, you know, beautiful, and you just own who you are as a person and you know your features and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure them look on you and be like, yo, like, you know, she did it and she was exceptional at it. Why me can't do it? You know what I mean? So I think
agree.
you understand like the impact, like what you do for other people and like them self-esteem and, you know, yeah, big up yourself.
I'm really humbled by that because I'm very emotional. So like I'm trying to hold myself back from like, you know, getting teary-eyed. But what I will say to that is when I won in 2016, I got a lot of comments on my complexion in comparison with my beauty. You know, so you get the compliments that go something like, you're beautiful for a black girl. You know, a long time when I see a black girl win, you know, a long time a black girl should have win. And honestly, I also took those compliments the way that they were meant to be received, which was in a positive light, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do understand that there's a colorism, mental slavery era that's still lingering. And that's from 2016. We're in 2026, which is 10 years later, which is the new 2016. And I still believe that it is still something that is an underlying concern. But I do attribute a lot of my confidence to the way my parents raised me and the way they had me understand how beautiful it was for me to be tall, how beautiful it was for me to have long toes. You know, that half of the things that I felt like I could have been or should have been insecure about, I was insecure about. My parents really breathed a lot of confidence into those areas. And so I can't sit here and not give a lot of credit and praise to my family and my parents, you know. But what about the young girls who don't have that level of influence around them? We can't blame them for feeling the way that they feel because it's the way that society has kind of allowed us to feel.
Yeah.
But one message I want to bring across is you're not beautiful for a brown girl or a black girl. You're beautiful for what you possess on the inside, and sometimes we don't realize, but that's what exudes on the outside. You ever meet somebody who has physical attributes that tend to be along the side what we consider societal beauty, but their personality brings down their image like 10 times fold. They're ugly on the inside.
Listen.
Yeah, I think we pay too much attention to the external features as opposed to what is really important, which is how kind is this person? How forgiving is this person? How caring is this person? You know, how welcoming is this person's aura? So I think a lot of those compliments that came back in the day should have come from a space of what's her personality like? And they did. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is what most of the focus should have been on, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Her personality is gonna go represent Jamaica internationally. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That was so beautiful. Wow. So, you know, you finished now. You represented us beautifully on the international stage.
I did my best.
What was the next step for you?
I jumped right back into school. I was studying entertainment and cultural enterprise management at UWI. And I jumped right back into school so hard, Anthony, that the dean, I believe, Dr. Naya, I don't remember Dr. Naya's position, but Dr. Naya is up there. Dr. Naya recommended me to start working at Sandals as an entertainment manager without graduating.
Wow.
So
You were like in your second year?
I was in my second year at this point. So I jumped on that opportunity and I ran to Sandals to learn everything I could. I soaked it up like a sponge. And I was there for about a year. And then from there, I had a tragic fall where I actually was asked gracefully to resign because of my endometriosis. So I was overdoing it because we were working like 18-hour shifts, and I fainted out on the job in front of the guests. And you don't really faint out in front of the guests.
Yeah. And you say you're working
The guests
18 hours?
sometimes wonder why rain is falling. Why would a manager faint out in front of them? Like, what? People faint in Jamaica? But to be fair, Sandals was a very supportive company.
They were, okay.
The manager in Montego Bay, she personally, when I fainted out, got me into a VIP room. I was in there for about 2 hours until they were able to call my mom, who rushed from St. Elizabeth to Montego Bay. They took me to hospital. I was there for about 2 days. They took care of me, took care of all my medical expenses. Sandals was a dream come true to work for. And even when they suggested for me to resign, it was with a heavy heart because it was still a decision that I had to make. But they wanted me to know that if it was for my best interest, that they would support me, you know? And so that is when I ended up deciding that my health had to come first. And so I left also with a very heavy heart, but with a lot of love, you know, for the team members there. To this day, I'm still in touch with my team members from Sandals, all of them. And then I went on to coming back to Kingston. And I was with my friend Uliana one night, walking through Marketplace, and we saw Epican. And at the time, I was heavy on naturopathic medicine, natural medicine, not using pharmaceuticals to soothe my endometriosis, because at this point, I had stage 3 endometriosis. I had done 2 major surgeries to save my life. And so because of that, I wanted to really align my career with my upliftment and my health and advocacy, because I'm big on advocacy. I chat a lot. And I feel like if I chat in a lot, it have to be for a cause, it have to make sense. I can't just chat stuff for no reason. So long and short of it,
to the TikToker them, the TikTok influencer them.
I ain't shading over here. You would do that over there. But the TikTok influencers making their money over there with them chatting. So I can't ever bash them for that. Them I make use of them chatting.
True. But
But when I started at Epican, I started out as a training manager. I went there with my same friend Uliana. She knew the CEO and she introduced me as someone who could train the staff because the experience that we had there a couple of times wasn't the best. And I'm also big on good customer service. I think in Jamaica, we're very friendly. We should apply it to our customer service, but we're horrible. Jamaica, let's do better with our customer service. And if you're a business owner and you're seeing this message, call me. I can train your staff. So I was at Epican and I went in as a training manager, trained the staff, and they asked me to come on as a dispensary manager. This was major.
yeah.
So it was my first time solely managing a team on my own, because at Sandals I had help. This was my first time managing a dispensary. I was also a beauty queen. I didn't know how Jamaica would have received, you know, Jamaican people would stay, you know.
What kind? Weirdly conservative.
Yeah, I don't know if they were really understanding the medicinal aspect of cannabis, you know. But it went very well. And I was at Epican for 4 years. And it was my dream job. In my bio on Instagram, it was like, this is my dream job. Because I was able to advocate for not only people who had chronic illnesses who were women, but also men. Also, you know, there were also people who would speak to Charlotte's Web. I don't know if you know about that, but they're seizures that have been cured through medicinal cannabis. And we had a couple of patients who would suffer from seizures as well.
Yeah.
We had a patient we actually saved in store one day from having a seizure. We didn't have to call an ambulance because we were able to save him in store within like half an hour. His seizure calmed down. So it felt good and fulfilling to go from, I've lived many lives, I believe, in my short time here on Earth, you know?
I want to talk a bit more about endometriosis.
Yes.
And you
It's
say
Endometriosis Awareness Month, by the way.
Oh, it is.
Yes, March is Endo Awareness Month.
Okay,
So let's talk about it.
I have a friend who has it. For her, it really, really bad. Like sometimes she have her good days and then she really have her bad days. And I didn't realize it was so controversial. As in, like, you have some medical professionals that don't really recognize it.
So I was diagnosed with endometriosis at the tender age of 16. And diagnosis really comes through having to do a minor operation called laparoscopy. What is laparoscopy? And this is why a lot of practitioners are not in a position to diagnose endometriosis, because you have to have the right skill set to do it. Also, a lot of women are going to general practitioners and are not going to gynecologists. If you have a reproductive issue from you start having a cycle, you should be seeing a gynecologist. And that's where a lot of parents, unfortunately, step in the wrong direction. They take their children. I wouldn't say my mom stepped in the wrong direction, because obviously she was doing the best she could.
Yeah.
But my mom was taking me to my general practitioner who misdiagnosed me with anemia. Not to say I wasn't low on iron. That was a side effect of endometriosis. Yeah. And so what the general practitioner was supposed to do was tell my mom to take me to someone else. But it wasn't until I came to Kingston and my father and mom recognized that every single month I would have to be home from school for at least 3 days because I could not be functional at school while I'm having a cycle. My sister also has endo, and she is 20 years older than me, and we have different moms. So we realized that something possibly could have been correlated. And so my dad took me to a gynecologist who had experience with endometriosis. And that is when I discovered it was hereditary. It's something that I didn't eat myself into. It's not something that I caught from anywhere. Another misconception was that it had to do with sexual promiscuity way, way back in the day, not in our generation, but people who were in their 70s and 80s who would talk to me about it said that back in the day, people would connotate having a reproductive disorder with you being loose. And that's something that we really wanted to get a stigma away from. There are many reasons why I decided to advocate for women who had reproductive disorders because it's a lot of us, predominantly African-centered women, I've heard at least, suffer more. But I wanted to spread the word because when I was younger, I had someone like similar to me, you know, a beauty queen or a model or someone I see on social media talking about it, then I would have been able to say, no, mommy, I think I have endometriosis, you know? And so that's why I did what I did. And that's why I still do what I do, because I don't see endometriosis as a curse. I don't see it as, oh, why me, woe me, feel sorry for me. I actually see it as something that I have been tasked with, what I call my purpose. So my purpose is to advocate for women who have chronic illnesses, reproductive disorders, because my mouth make for chat, as I say. So why not advocate for something that I have a personal interaction with? But I've done 3 major surgeries. It's the disorder sticks your organs together. And it stops them from functioning. And so I can be here with you today, and tomorrow I'm having issues with breathing because endometriosis got trapped on my lungs. And before you know it, I'm rushed to surgery to try to get rid of that, to try to save my life, because obviously we need to breathe. You know? So that's a mouthful, but that's what endometriosis really entails. You know, it's a lot of ups and downs because trust me, when you go through something like that, when you're up, you know, because you're grateful. You know what it's like to be down. And so that's why I look at life that way, because we can appreciate the moments where we're good because we've appreciated or understood the moments where we were not good. So that's how I look at it with the ups and downs thing. But it's true, similar to your sister, I have ups and downs too. Haven't had downs in a very long time, thank God. But yeah, we look forward to every day.
That's true. I mean, one thing I can say with you, you know, your endo warriors, on a player, you see me?
Ramp.
1 minute on the mic down, the next minute on take on the world, you know what I mean? I just
Bring it.
Some look on it, man, but I really do love the work that you're doing, you know what I mean? Especially with raising awareness. I didn't even know that was even a thing till just last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are not aware of it. And then I think a lot of women, especially in Jamaica, are misdiagnosed, you know, because
Definitely.
of it. So, you know, it's actually just a scary thought.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you go to some of these doctors, you would think that they would be advocating for us to do what would best for our health, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them is like...
Don't get me started on that topic.
No, get started.
No, because I've had some really terrible experience with our medical practitioners in Jamaica who have no bedside manners, who have no empathy. And this is both male and females. There are 2 doctors or gynecologists who I stand by, but I have definitely had some experiences where it's like, these doctors don't mean us well. They don't mean our mental health well. The things that they prescribe for us is really just for temporary fixes, but they do have long-term side effects. And so for lack of a better word, outside of an emergency where I have to be at the hospital, I kind of burn out pharmaceuticals. I don't believe in pharmaceutical drugs.
So you mostly prescribe to the
naturopathic medicine.
Really?
Think bush tea, things that grow outside. Me's a country girl, you know. I'm from St. Elizabeth.
So you find that this method, it works for you? Like,
yeah,
really?
definitely. Natural medicine is honestly, there's no reason to question naturopathic medicine. There's no reason to question God-given medicine. There's no reason to question what is grown from the earth, because what happens in a lab is they put stuff that are natural to, don't get me wrong, but they're mixing it with other chemicals that have, as I said, short-term relief but have long-term effects. And I don't believe that. I think it's hypocritical to fix something short-term and then in the long run I'm coming to you with diabetes, hypertension, anxiety, depression, lack of appetite.
Them always say still the pharmacy them have to do that to make you keep coming back,
No, them can't catch my money like that. He's a very, very conservative young woman. Yeah, I caught on to that very early. And so I'm quicker to pull for a heat pad for cramps as opposed to pulling for a Panadol. I tough out a lot of things that I go through like a real soldier because of my stubborn mentality towards pharmaceutical medicine.
All right.
So,
quick question, just for like anybody out there watching and who might be dealing with this, whether directly or indirectly, right?
Yeah.
Do you offer like any resources or any like links or stuff that they can probably seek out and get information?
So link me I have a separate Instagram page for endometriosis conversations, and it's called at Endostrength 101. It used to be Endo Struggles, but to be fair, I found a lot of strength in having a chronic condition, so it's now called Endostrength 101. So if you're into feeling more resilient and more strong, if you have nowhere to turn to, if you have no one to talk to, I'm always available. I meet a lot of new friends and women on a weekly basis through that page, through just talking to people now. I'm talking to you now about it. Tomorrow you meet somebody up and they say, wait, I know somebody. Before you know it, tomorrow I have a new friend.
There you go.
So a new sister.
I'm going to put the links in the show notes, all right, guys, the description, so you guys can just go check it out. All right, so Ashlie, you mentioned in your introduction that you're helping some hopefuls to break into the modeling industry. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so I am a part of a phenomenal university. It's called My Model University. Basically, it was founded by Alicia Thorpe. Big up Alicia. I am the head coach at the school, and basically it's the same as a school. There are semesters, there are courses, there are classes that you can choose from. We have set classes, we have private classes. We train for runway, we train for photography, we train for brand alignment. There is so many courses, so many things to take from it.
All right. And you have links and pages where people can reach out to you, all right?
My Model University.
All right. So we're going to put those links in the show notes. And you'd recommend, like, for anybody, because I'm not gonna lie, everybody want to be a model, right? I feel like everybody want to be a model. So you'd recommend them to go to the modeling university.
Yeah. Get some training.
Get some training and thing. And then because, and I'm not going to lie, guys, she's not talking bullshit. She's not bullshitting you. Because I see some of the models, I think recently they were on a fashion show for Tatiana swim thing, right? And My Model University is their alma mater, correct?
Most of them.
Not
all.
See, most of them, guys. So see there, you can go to university and you can get work. Because enough people are going over them institutions and they're not even getting no work.
Yeah, that's true though. 10 toes down. That's something we pride ourselves on. We don't just train you and then push you out there. We build a portfolio for you. A lot of people reach out to us for work, and so we pass it on to the models. We have a MU Hub, which is a community where we solely have our models in who have passed the courses. But not everybody passes. To be fair, it's not easy as much as people may think it's easy.
Sound like real school.
Yeah, you have to show up and you have to put in the work, and we have to see that there's progress. But honestly, we don't have much failure rates. To be fair. A lot of our students are usually successful, and if they're not, it's not that we just fail them and that's it. We actually put in the extra work to help them to get to the point of success without charge. Because we're a school that's not just about the money, we're not just about the money and the other frivolous things, but we're really in it for uplifting the creative industries and also demanding more respect for that industry within modeling, because a lot of models don't get what we deserve, in terms of payment, in terms of respect, in terms of appreciation for what we do. People will quick up here, makeup artists and a videographer and beg free work from a model. When the model is the face that's gonna be on the billboard, the model is the face that's gonna be on the TV screen for another 25 years.
Yeah.
But they're quicker to pay the persons behind the scene than the persons in front of the camera.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, and so we're working on all of that. We want to get to a point where the government also establishes some sense of acknowledgement to that industry as well, because we're talk up, we want some more acknowledgement.
No, for sure, definitely. All for some shoot where you go on, you're gonna get paid till 2-3 months, all a year after.
And and
like,
from
what,
brands that
without
you would
bills?
least expect, Yeah. It's
For
unfortunate.
real, it's really unfortunate thing. But I really do glad though that I like to see that you're paying, you're paying it forward.
Of
What I mean?
course,
For sure,
yeah.
especially for a lot of these hopefuls. So there's no age restriction, right?
No, I wouldn't say that, because let's look at Fenty, for instance, with Rihanna. Rihanna is a trailblazer, a Caribbean trailblazer, and on top of that,
Big
she
up
is
yourself.
woman. Rihanna, when she did her fashion show, I think a few years back, Rihanna had disabled, tall, short, slim, light skin, dark skin, every single genre of people walked that fashion show. And the only thing they all had in common was confidence and wearing someone who believed in the fact that fashion is for everyone.
Yeah.
And so why is the industry not opening up to facilitate everyone? Age is just a number. If Miss Universe has opened up to not have an age limit, right? And that speaks to beauty standards globally.
True.
Why should we be limiting global beauty standards to a particular age and stage? When I'm 50, 60, 70, 80, God spare my life, I still want to be modeling. I still want to be representing brands that speak to my demographic.
True.
Because who's better to sell products to someone who is of a certain age group than the person within that age group?
True.
So, and that's why I'm a heavy believer in the fact that anyone wants to put their mind to it would be capable of modeling, whether it's runway, whether it's posing, whether it's commercial. Like Scotiabank call you tomorrow. Who's to say, I did a shoot for Scotiabank with someone who was in her 80s, and she was a fabulous grandmother. I actually wanted to adopt her as my grandma. She was fab.
I agree. I would definitely see. So you
Fly the gate.
So you kind of like this direction now where the modeling industry is going, where being more diverse.
It should be a representation of the people.
Okay, all right. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So Ashlie, don't feel like you get off so easily. I have a game for us.
I'm waiting for the
today.
game, I don't want to get off. I want to play the game already.
All right. So we're gonna run it now, you see me?
Should I be nervous?
So red flag or green flag? Okay.
I don't have to expound on these.
No.
Okay.
A man who approaches you at the gym.
Green flag.
Okay. A man who asks for a photo together on the first date.
Man, these are hard. Can it be a blue flag?
No.
Because why is he asking for the photo? Like, there may be a reason, like,
Him see him like him want to take a picture.
but what if he wants to show his friends the picture? Then it's a red flag. Like, if it's to go and show everybody that him go on a date and show off, that's a red flag. But it's a green flag if it's just like a sentimental thing. Like, let me take a picture
first
for the
date?
memory. What if he just wants the memory of our first date because he thinks we're gonna go on many more? It could be a sweet thing. That's a hard one, Anthony. I cry Cree. Cree.
No. You have
No.
no trick on. Red or green?
Okay, just to be on the safe side, red.
Okay. A man who doesn't use social media.
Green.
Okay. A man who is intimidated by your success.
Red. Red. Red flag.
A man who wants to split the bill on the
Red.
first. Okay.
Red.
A man who posts you immediately on Instagram.
What's immediately?
Maybe like,
First date?
yeah.
Red. Why am I on Instagram?
A man who says he prefers natural beauty.
Green flag. I prefer natural beauty myself. I don't really like makeup and extra enhancements and lash and them thing there.
A man who says pageants are outdated.
Red flag.
A man who slides in your DMs with just hi beautiful.
I don't know. Is he handsome? I'm joking. Red flag. Red.
See, but tell my sister this the other day.
Red.
Because me and my sister, they talk about some carnival thing and some whining and whatever view. And I say, listen to me. You see, if the man not ugly or warm like that, he will get a blind. But if the man ugly, I just look to for them standard, them I go run him. I say that.
So what's wrong with that?
No, because all right.
Other women who consider him handsome will whine with him.
No, but the thing is though, because like a lot of women, you know, them they talk about like, well, you two at the part event too, you talk about like consent and you have a top or whatever.
Yeah, ask.
Then
same thing for the handsome guy. He has to ask too. But who's gonna get through?
No. But my sister, but you have some people will just like go behind and not ask, right?
No.
But
you could have pretty like Jesus police record. It's a no.
it's a no.
Yeah.
Well, you have some girls though, like them will say that.
True.
But, like
true.
them will.
Once him cute, then we'll take a little prips and say, you know what? Don't bother ask for the consent. Just take.
A girl said the look back test is real.
It is real though.
There
I
you
can
go.
agree with that.
There you
I'm
go.
not even gonna deny that the look back test is real. I have been a look back. It's not a victim. But I've hit a look back before, you know. But
like,
my look back also usually comes with a press back. So I'm not looking back first. I'm looking and pressing at the same time. Because who are you?
True.
Sometimes it's a virgin, you know, who, you know, will trying to just use them back and kind of, you know, but you still have to get a press, you know.
True.
Ladies, your space is very sacred. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all she's gonna say.
Yeah.
All right. A man who doesn't like carnival.
Green flag.
A man who lives with his parents.
Red. Hold on. It's a red flag. What? You're a man and you're living with your parents? It's red. It's a red flag. Did they get that? It's a red flag. Sir, why are you living with your parents? Am I in frame? What? Sir. Get out of your parents' house. They need some time to themselves. It's time for you to go. Sorry, I think you needed that PSA.
All right, here's my thing. Suppose the man, you know, I try to save some money.
Wait. Do you live with your parents? That would have been so awkward. Okay.
No, I don't care.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't live with my parents.
But if it's circumstantial, you know. But
that's so funny.
It's circumstantial. Obviously, everybody have different circumstances. And we now bash the gentleman. Them we decide, say, you know, them have to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe they're living with their parents because their parents need to be taken care of.
There you
Maybe
go.
the parents are living with them. That's different. But you can be a hardback man. You're earning an income. And you've decided off of your own free will, your parents are fine, to stay with them, you're still living with them. No, sir. Get up and go. So you shelling down woman in your mother's house? No, that's disgraceful. Damn! Is it that you're just not shelling at all? Because really and truly, like, no, it's ick. It's giving ick. It's giving cancelled.
Hey, yeah, some man, you know, the mother will knock on the door and say, she wants some water.
No,
so, all right.
you. No. And honestly, I blame the mothers and the fathers too. Because why are you encouraging him to still live with you? No, man, move out. I mean, know some big man too will still live with them parents for true, you know. Move out, sir. Move out. Yeah.
All right. A man who is obsessed with the gym.
Red flag.
Why?
Why are you obsessed with the gym? You should be obsessed with me.
All right. A man who calls every woman queen.
Red flag.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Because I'm me. If are you sensing a pattern here?
A man who is shorter than you in heels.
My friends would say red flag. Honestly, you said in heels, and I have to be fair. Unless you're really tall like you are, a lot of men will be a little shorter than me when I'm in heels. So I can't make it a full red flag. It's like a burgundy flag. It's like a pink flag.
A pink flag.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're about to wrap up now and thing. But Ashlie, any parting words for the viewers, the fans, them, the well-wishers, the admirers?
What would I say? I said so much. I just want to say, in a world where everyone is rustling around and trying to figure themselves out, focus on yourself. I think that is the greatest power that we can possess. And I feel like if there's a message I want to leave everybody with, it's this year being the year of self-love, self-acceptance. And yeah, just big up you, wherever you are watching from, if you're in Thailand, Tokyo, Asia, the UK, Africa, big up you. Jamaica.
There you go, guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Watching.
Thank you guys so much for watching, guys.
Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share. Yeah.
All right. There you go, guys. On a better follow what you say, hear me I say. All right, cool.
Bye.
All right, bye, guys. Take care. Big up on yourself.